notice that a single piece of paper, a report card, is often mistaken as our capability? From the time we are little, we are measured by marks, ranks, and grades. Then we are told if you're good at science, you must become a doctor. If you're good at maths, you must become an engineer. And if you're good at drawing, well, that's just a hobby. Isn't it strange that most personal decisions of our life, our career, is decided by numbers on a piece of paper? I like to think it of this way. Our society runs a factory of dreams, where every single child enters with its bold and unique colors. Some are fiery red, some ocean blue, some a chaotic swirl of every shade imaginable. But inside this factory, there's a process where every single color is worn out because they are impractical. The wild edges are trim and each shape is molded into the same design. And one by one, they come out of the conveyor belt, neatly packaged, perfectly labeled, socially stamped jobs. And it is not bad for those who really want these paths, but for those whose colors were worn out in the process, it's kind of a loss. In Japan, there's a concept called ikigai, a reason for being. It is the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Now, contrast this with many parts of the world where society tells children forget what you love, forget what you're good at, only focus on what pays you. We act as if there are only 5 or 6 valid dreams and everything else is just a disappointment or a risk. And the saddest part is, many of us stop dreaming not because we failed. We stopped dreaming because we were never allowed to try. When dreams are chosen by society, the result may be a good resume, but not always a happy life. I have seen it, you have seen it, people with great jobs, big salaries, but no peace. They go to work every day with no passion. They succeed on the outside but feel empty inside. Why? Because they are living someone else's dream. We create a world full of followers, not discoverers. But why does society do this? Because of fear of failure, fear of not fitting in. Parents fear their children will struggle, students fear judgment, and teachers fear low results. And so we all push each other into the same mold because it sounds safe. But dreams aren't meant to be safe, right? They're meant to be real. Recently, I was watching a podcast of a software engineer at a top company. He was stable, smart, well paid, but on weekends, he used to teach music at an NGO for free. That was the only time in the whole interview his eyes lit up. Like this was the only thing which made him comfortable. He was asked, "What would you do if you had the chance to live life again?" And he simply answered, "If I had the chance to live life again, I would be a music teacher, not an engineer. But my family would never allow that. So I live 2 lives, one for them, one for me." How many people do we know who are living like him? He was the perfect example of success, got into one of the best engineering colleges of the country, landed a job at the age of 22 at the top tech company. Within some years, he was managing global clients, earning in 6 figures, living in a high rise apartment. A guy who was hitting deadlines, staying up late debugging codes, came alive in that small room with a guitar in his hand and a bunch of underprivileged kids around him. He looked free, not successful, not smart, just free. When we push everyone into the same career, we just not lose personal happiness. We lose potential. We lose the dancers who could have inspired millions, the teachers who could have transformed lives, the entrepreneur who could have created jobs, the athlete, inventor, actor, all lost in the noise of safe options. Don't choose art, it won't feed you. Your dream is fine, but as a backup. What will people say? These are some of the things that we often hear from our surroundings. But let me tell you one thing, these are just fears and not facts. Let them say what they want, let them think what they want, it should not matter. Because the world does not need more copies, it needs originals. People who are alive, bold, and passionate enough to follow their own dream, even if it's not the popular one. Because you were never born to fit into someone else's story. You were meant to write your own. colorful, bold, and unapologetically yours. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna says, "It is better to live your own destiny imperfectly than to live an imitation of someone else's life perfectly, because even a stumble on your path is more valuable than success on someone else's path." And history keep reminding us of those who dare to dream differently. Think of Steve Jobs. He was told that dropping out of college was reckless, but he chose to dream differently and gave the world Apple, completely transforming technology and creativity. Rabindranath Tagore, in his time, he was told that poetry was not a profession, but he chose to follow his passion and gave India its national anthem and the world its first non-European Nobel laureate. Malala Yousafzai, a girl which was told by society that education was not her right, but she chose to fight for herself, and now she's the voice of millions. Each of these individuals teaches us something profound, that society may resist your dreams until your dream reshapes society itself. And it starts with conversations. Not "you should become this," but "who do you want to become?" Not "what will pay you," but "what will make you feel alive?" And it starts with courage. The courage to step off the conveyor belt, the courage to keep your colors even if the factory says they are too bright. Society isn't separate from us. We are the society. And if we want the impact, we need to make sure that we are the ones to make it happen, because we are the next generation. We need to make sure that individuality will always outperform those who rewards only obedience. It will be more resilient, more human, and more innovative. The solution isn't to eliminate the structure, it's to evolve it. The solution isn't to reject tradition, it's to make space for choices. And the solution isn't to demand rebellion, it's to invite reflection. At the end, the dream belongs to an individual and not to the society that claims to know what's best for them. And that discovery doesn't always happen at the age of 16 or even 20, sometimes at 30. And that's okay, because growth is not always linear, and it should not be seen as confusion, rather should be seen as courage. We live in a world facing unprecedented challenges: climate change, technological disruption, cultural division, inequality. Do you think these problems will be solved by some handful of selective careers? No. We need future thinkers, artists, climate activists. We need climate warriors. We need ethical leaders, compassionate healers, and fearless creators. Why can't we see a small town boy as a world champion in badminton? Why can't a poor girl be envisioned as the founder of her own business empire? Why can't a melodious voice, dismissed as mere hobby, be honored as gift to the world? Let us build a culture where ambitions are inspired, not inherited, where careers are chosen, not handed down, where success is defined by self, not discovered by others. And when that happens, when people are free to choose their own career, they just don't find a career. They find their voice, they find themselves. As it is rightly said, that everyone dream, but not equally. Those who dream in the night and to wake up and find it was vanity, but those who dream in the day are dangerous. For may they act on their dreams to make them possible. So let us all dare to be the dangerous dreamers and give the world the originals, not a borrowed one. Thank you.